Welcome to Beyond the Code, the podcast where industry experts and brilliant legal minds discuss the impact of new emerging technologies. Good morning, everybody. We are at day 2 of Consensus 2026 in Miami, and I am joined by Jacqueline Cooper, who I just met. We had a very brief conversation, and I could tell right away that she's somebody with a lot of background in this industry and a lot of very interesting content for our community. So please, Jacqueline, introduce yourself.
Yeah, no, I'm really excited to be at Consensus and to meet you and to partner with you guys. So my background is that I am a partner at Cogent Law Group, and I've been in the blockchain space over 10 years now. I'm the author of the Bitcoin Cinderella Blockchain Adventure series, and I've started a number of projects all about resource development, consulting, and legal compliance. So I'm really excited to be here to learn more about what you guys are doing too.
So the thing I'm most interested in is you said that you started this library over 10 years ago, which means you're quite an OG in this space. How did you fall into crypto, and what was that like, and how did this whole journey evolve?
Yeah, so I met a woman in Scotland, and she introduced me to crypto, not Bitcoin, but to an altcoin.
Okay.
And
What was this?
This was probably around 9 years ago. No, it had to be 10 years. That was my origin story. So yeah, over 10 years ago. And so as a result of that, I've always been interested in college. My major was science, technology, and society. So I've always am interested in what's the tech behind the product or the source.
Okay.
And so as I
And was your legal practice also focused on tech?
No, I was it was business development. It was nonprofit. It was nothing to do with this technology side. I've always been trying to give back to our community, so it's always been about the service. So on the tech side, as I started to learn more about the cryptocurrency side, then I realized that actually blockchain has other uses. It is, used in supply chain. It's used by FedEx. It's used, by McCormick Spice. And so I realized that the application is global, but it's evolved over the last 10 years. I met the founders like Dr. Scott Stornetta and Dr. Haber, who actually created the blockchain technology over 34 years ago. And they're on the board of who we're working with now, because again, the companies back then didn't know what to do with this. Just like with AI, when things were created, people don't know what to do with the commercial application. It takes a while before it becomes into the ecosystem. So I was learning all about the technology, and then I discovered Bitcoin. I became a Bitcoin miner. I got hacked. There's a lot of things, but about consumer protection. And I've written a number of books to help others learn about how to stay safe, but also about the journey and about the application. And the Blockchain Legal Institute, which I started with my co-founder, Matt Rogers, is a centralized library of decentralized resources. And it's evolved, it's changed, especially now that AI is involved. We know that it's all about vocabulary building. And if you don't know where to go to, if you're not at a conference, bumping into someone at a booth, you don't even know that company exists. Now with AI, you can scrape it. But still, do you know the quality of who you're scraping and who you're connecting with? And so there's a lot of talk. I was at the GBBC event yesterday with Media Advisor, and I'm involved with other associations. Now that Bitcoin is going over to TradFi, there is talk about the pay rails. How do you, keep them secure? How do you kind of educate consumers? What's the risk involved? It's how do you navigate that? And then who holds the keys? It's just, there's a lot of
essentially these are educational resources for lawyers.
It's for anyone. If you're a startup and you are trying to get started, you need to know as much as your lawyer does in terms of where to go.
I've heard that for so many years.
Yeah,
I keep hearing that. I have yet to find a client who does.
Yeah.
And actually, I find that those are the most difficult clients, ones who think that they know more than you, because they try and delegate all these things based on the knowledge that they acquired from open source resources like yourself. And then what they end up doing is basically making our lives much harder.
I respect that totally. It's not so much know more, but know how to ask the right questions. Because let's say that you're an entrepreneur and you're hiring a developer. Does your HR person know how to hire properly? And then if you don't have some knowledge of the tech as an entrepreneur, can you spot where your tech developer might be going wrong? So it is having surface knowledge, but enough knowledge to know where you need to get an expert like yourself or to go outside. It's a multidisciplinary team. Our community is international. It's not like a donut shop where you just walk in and ask for, the product. We are working internationally. So we have to think globally, which is why, we're looking at the US and what you're doing, because again, it's a community that has niche knowledge and you need to bring in that expert into that space.
Bring the knowledge to the masses,
Yeah.
but really to allow the client to kind of issue spot, but not to, obtain a PhD in the crypto legal knowledge on every jurisdiction.
Yeah. So for
But I
example,
think that nuance is important also to convey to consumers of that knowledge,
yes.
because you want people to be educated, but not to the extent that they end up hurting themselves by being, there's a great book. It's called Venture Deals. Be smarter than your venture capitalist and lawyer. And I read it and I thought like, wow, this is a great resource. It's all stuff that I know. But just the way that it's being able to take complex things and present them in a way, in a bite-sized manner that people who really need to be focused on business and building their product can understand. Like that's masterful.
I think successful CEOs are those that pull together teams that can advise them in ways, but they also still need to know what questions to ask their team. And they also need to have the forward vision to know where they want to lead so they can get the right answers. The Blockchain Legal Institute is not a law firm. It's not providing legal advice. Really, it's providing ongoing resources. So you can have multiple resources to cross-check against each other. Again, there are a lot of valuable resources and then resources that will disappear in 5 years. So you always need to be able to have this, you need to see, is the same answer being given multiple ways so you can make sure that you're on the right track.
Hey guys, I want to tell you about today's sponsor. First Read is an AI tool built specifically for lawyers. I've been using it at my firm for over a year now, and I honestly can't imagine my practice without it. I use it as a companion throughout my whole workflow. It runs the first read, literally, of any legal document I'm reviewing. It helps me draft from scratch, and when I'm in a deep, complex piece, I could literally just talk to it. For a commercial lawyer, that's invaluable. But here's what really made me want to work with them. They're a small startup and they care, like really care. If you have an issue, you can get the founder himself in your DMs and he fixes it in minutes. Oh, and the pricing, way more accessible than their competitors. If you want to give it a whirl, head over to firstread.com/sign up and make sure to use BYND, the code 10 at checkout for an additional 10% off. If you do try it, please reach out to me and tell me what you think. I genuinely love to hear your experience. And so how could somebody get access to this content?
Yeah. So the Blockchain Legal Institute is easy to find. It's bli.tools. And we have a number of other projects, but on the homepage, we have press releases, we have global summits. Again, it's a growing content library and it's evolving, again, as our tech world is evolving. And I appreciate, bumping into you guys to learn more about what you're doing too.
Jacqueline, as somebody who's been in the space for a long time, I'm sure you've seen everything. Give me some like crazy war stories.
Crazy war stories. Okay, so my hack. I am a Bitcoin miner, and I didn't realize. Yeah, I didn't realize when I bought my Bitcoin machine through this company, because I didn't know the questions to ask, that I had a sub wallet, not a master wallet. So I wasn't really fully in control of the Bitcoin that was dropping in there. So one day, after 2 years of having Bitcoin kind of roll in there, and my mistake, I didn't move it to a cold wallet. So lesson learned.
Well, what year was this again? Just to kind of place it where you are in your journey?
It was about 5 years ago.
Okay.
So they decided to close the company. And they impacted thousands of people, and the SEC and others actually have lawsuits against them, and there's a settlement. But again, we're not going to get any close to what we
Not your keys, not your cash.
exactly
That's the
right.
lesson learned right
Yeah,
there.
exactly right. So basically, you know, all of a sudden I realized I didn't ask the question. I made an assumption about the nature of the wallet. And I didn't ask, is that wallet my wallet or who controls that wallet? So again, same on a centralized exchange.
And these things are obvious to people who have been in this space for a while, but anybody coming into this space, which is why so many people, I guess, get scammed or get hacked. And we always say it's a rite of passage, but it doesn't have to be.
No, it doesn't.
If you educate and you make these materials accessible to people at the right time, then they can avoid these kind of mishaps.
As I'm a parent. Are you a parent?
I am.
So our kids don't always listen to us when we say
Almost never.
we've done this. You don't have to do this. So listen from the people in this space that have had these experiences, so you don't have to have that lesson learned. One of the it's a strong passion for me in terms of like estate planning and wills. If you own any of these digital assets, you need a will. And you need to let your family know that you have these assets. But don't use your biometrics for access to these assets.
Why is that?
Because let's say you pass away and you have the face as as the access point. They're not going to have access.
Here comes a plug. So I've mentioned very many times on this podcast that one of my favorite companies in the space is Zengo.
Yeah.
When they have a MPC-based wallet with biometric access. And one of their premium features is that you could actually set another person, your wife or significant other, in the event that your wallet is inactive for 18 months, for example.
Yeah.
And she can also use her biometrics to gain access to that. So there are many safeguards.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say necessarily not to use your biometrics because it is a great way of securing your details. But if you do that, you should do it in a way that is like responsible and forward thinking.
I agree with you on that. It's the idea of always having a backup plan, because if you're not thinking of who is going to be benefiting from this generational wealth that you're creating, and you're only thinking in the moment, then you haven't created that backup plan to what happens if, because we never think about accidents, but things happen.
Yeah.
And so, again, in our profession, we're trying to help mitigate the risk.
Yes. Well, Jacqueline, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
And it was very nice to meet you. And I look forward to doing work with you guys.
Same here. And everyone who's listening, have a great day. And remember, stay safe, but
consult with a lawyer.